if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I hope you will stick around. So in one of my previous videos, I briefly showed an accent wall I was working on in my studio as part of my whole studio makeover. And in that video, I promised to go a little bit more in depth into how I did the accent wall. So this is that video. And first, obviously, I had to get rid of this pink wallpaper monstrosity. After cleaning the wall from all wallpaper and the adhesive, I did 2 layers of primer, just a basic white one. For the actual effect I'm going for on this wall, I picked 2 different paint colors. I'm using this Olaf paint. It's a Finnish paint that doesn't contain any plastic binders. It's oil-based and very ecological. So I picked 2 different shades, one light and one dark one. The light one I picked is called Hure and the dark one is called Lava. And looking back, I think I could have gone with a little bit less contrast between these 2 shades. But obviously you can blend them together to get less contrast and a color in between also. So the first step was to do 1 coat of the light color on the entire wall. My goal is to make the edges of the wall darker, and then it's going to get a little bit lighter in the middle to give a bit of a depth. Once I went in with the dark color, I started to work around the edges, and I tested out a couple of different methods before I came to the conclusion that the best way for the effect I wanted was to work with a large brush. And I used a lot of the dry brush technique, so I would paint by the edges when I had more paint on the brush. And then as the brush started to dry out, I worked towards the middle of the wall to give that kind of fade. I did a second coat of the dark paint around the edges where I wanted the color to be almost the solid dark shade. And here you can see me starting to mix the paints and test out how that works as I started to blend and get more texture on the wall. So I did 1 blend with mostly the light color, and then I just mixed in a little bit of the dark color. And then you'll see I poured just a little bit of the dark color on the side and let it kind of naturally mix as I took more color on my tools. At this point you'll see I have gone from using the brush to using a large sponge, and this sponge worked really well. I had another one. For me personally, I think it had a little bit too much texture, but this one was just perfect. And with this one too, I sometimes put a little bit more paint on it, and sometimes I used it almost dry to get just a little bit of that paint and create a nice blend. So this stage with the sponge I could have worked on for days. Sometimes I worked wet on wet, which made it way easier to blend, and then sometimes I let the layers dry a little bit in between, and then I continued to layer. And layer and layer and layer. Basically you can just keep layering and layering until you're satisfied with the effect you want, so yeah, at some point I just had to decide, okay, now I'm done and I'm finished. As you see, there's still a lot of work with the art studio, so I'm not going to show you the finished art studio yet because it's not finished. So I hope you'll stick around and I'll do a whole art studio tour once I'm done. So thank you for watching. I hope this gave at least somewhat of a guide to how you can also achieve this look. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!